Hi, this is Mike, and I'm a fourth-year interior design student. Oh, it was great. The study in the fourth year gave me an opportunity to explore something I really like and I'm interested in. There are sensory experiences in space. I am always fascinated by human sense and curious about how people see, hear, and feel. I think the senses are the key for people to interact with the world, and I'm interested in how to design the key so that people can feel more. I was determined to create a space in which a person can get multiple sensory experience as if they were in a different space, and this space I named it a connecting space. Because of my own experience of isolation during the pandemic, I was locked in my apartment in the city center. The long time of isolation made me space weary, and I often wish that my home could have a little bit of change. I used to think how nice it would be if my home could be transformed into a forest or a lake, but obviously that wasn't possible. So I started to think that maybe I could break the boundary between the space by influencing people's sense and transfer the experience of the outside world into my home. You can imagine how wonderful that would be. In my exploration in the first half of the semester, I begin with a series of explorations focusing on vision, and I have got plenty of discoveries. The most interesting one is that freedom of view influences how people perceive the space they are in. I discovered through my experiments that when my view is locked and I am not free to move my view focus, it creates a sense of being locked in a confined space, whereas a free view gives me the feeling that space is infinitely extending. There is one more important discovery from another experiment, that the spatial confinement will be blurred when the sense, the vision, is totally removed. It allows an extension of our sensory experience beyond the preconceived boundaries of inside and outside. People move more freely with closed eyes as if the spatial proportion has been rearranged. I hope to use the discoveries from the exploration of vision to break down the barriers of different space, thus achieving a blending space with new experience. I did 3 further sensory explorations in the second half of the semester in order to integrate different spatial experiences. I listened to 3 different voice pieces around the world with closed eyes. I didn't know under which situation the voice pieces had been taken. I heard them, the street view in Melbourne came to my mind. So I walked on the street, trying to embody the view in my mind as a collage. It has shown that without pictures, people tend to visualize the voice with their most familiar environment. The voice is therefore one essential element comprising spatial experience, and it connects different spaces. So I started my next exploration, Inside Out. Inside Out is an experiment of voice replacement. I filmed some of my scene at home, keeping the video while replacing the original sound with sound clips, and that took place outside. The result is a video piece that combines scenes from the home with the sounds from outside. The both experiments has brought me a brand new experience, feeling the mixture of the real and unreal space, which means I unintentionally have created a new space experience. I was fascinated by this new experience. In order to copy it, I started my 3rd experiment. Garden in my apartment is also a unique exploration, a first-person immersive experience of a garden at home. In this exploration, I projected scenes of the garden into my apartment. The scenes of the garden overlapped with my apartment, and a spatial fusion has been created. The overlapped scenes is so strange to me that the space where it is gone. I wonder why such two familiar spaces that I'm tired of are fresh to me again. And my answer is change. It seems to me that the reason why I become space weary of the space I was living in during the lockdown. It was difficult for me to feel the changes in the outside world when I stay inside for so long. Everything around us changing all the time. The light, the temperature, the weather. But it is difficult for me to perceive this change when I stay inside. The mixture of the real and unreal space that I created in my experiments causes a sense of strangeness, which I hope will reactivate people's sense and draw their attention to lift them out of their everyday routine, thus making it easier for them to perceive changes in their surroundings and achieve heightened awareness. As people become more aware of the changes around them, the space weary is no longer present. In the third part of my exploration, I wish to apply the discoveries from the previous experiments to a practical project. I lived in the city center for 5 years, and the sense of space weary that city center brings to me is exactly the same one when I was locked at home. Almost the same height of the buildings, the noise of construction sites, the roar of cars dominating my life, which made me often feel overwhelmed and uncomfortable. During my research, I discovered that Melbourne City Council is now trying to bring green back to urban cities and has implemented many projects on new open space for this proposal, among which the Elizabeth Street project attracted me most. I was quite familiar with the street, and this is what motivated me to do this project. So I started to think about what my research in interior design could bring to this project, and whether I could bring a new experience to the street and to the people through my design. Elizabeth Street is dominated by driveways, resulting in crowded pavements and a lack of greenery of space for pedestrians. Survey has shown that each year the number of vehicles using the street is decreasing and the number of pedestrians is increasing. With the impact of the pandemic and the ascending popularity of online working software, the use of vehicles during working hours is less as well. So perhaps we could consider reducing the number of driveways and widening the pavement to give pedestrians more space. Before design, I observed this street, as well as other green public space in Melbourne. From my observation, there are many green open space around downtown Melbourne that are rarely used. This green space aims to beautify the urban environment and to improve the ecosystem. However, the green space lacks interaction with people. The law in front of the Melbourne State Library was one of my case studies that are full of interactions. Many people would sit on it to chat or rest, and I become curious about why people come to this place and how they use it. What I found most interesting from my observation was that more people chose to sit on the steps or the lawn than on the benches, perhaps because the benches are too ritualistic, and in public space, this ritual often makes people feel tired, so people prefer to sit on the steps. I think this could be linked to the concept of de-ritualization, which is a direction that I can go deeper in the next semester. So this is Elizabeth Street, the site I chose to design. There are many elements I need to consider when I'm doing the design. Firstly, the people, including the pedestrians, people on bicycles, and people waiting for the tram. Secondly, about nature, the tree, the William Creek underneath Elizabeth Street, the sunlight. Thirdly, as for the situation, the people getting on and off the tram, and how the pedestrians move around the street. There are so many elements on the street that I could consider. It is a challenge for me, but I am also excited about it. Before the design for the next semester, I brainstormed and put it together a diagram of all the information I had gathered so far. And based on this diagram, I started to do some target experiments on Elizabeth Street as well as site analysis. In my plan, I intend to bring Elizabeth Street a series of sensory experiences, where each street responds to a specific sense, in the hope that through this targeted design, people can have a new experience and understanding of the street. Yes, I have designed the following experiments around my idea. They are waiting to be turned into practical design next semester. Balloon Dehive is a journey in which I follow a green balloon drifting on Elizabeth Street. I used a green balloon that shouldn't appear on the street to break the existing atmosphere, and through its intruding, it is hoped that the eye-catching sign will lead people to discover less noticeable corners of the street. Look there. In the experiment, I framed very specific things, while people focus on the things. The connection between the framed things and its surrounding has been cut off. Hence, strangeness has been created. Sunlight Bridge is an installation designed to highlight the sunlight. I hope to draw people's attention to the sunlight blocked by tall buildings. The beauty and the colorfulness of sunlight is emphasized. There are lots of ideas that remains to be taken into practice next semester. I hope that I can prepare a splendid sensory experience feast till then to show you more details. Thank you for listening. See you then.